Good day from the 65th Annual Cannes Film Festival. I'm Ian Roberts, and I'm presenting to you a program created by Paramax and Monde Ouest, a program entitled Cannes Echo 2012 in partnership with Screen International. In our program, we have a unique opportunity to take a look into the world of film finance. Through a series of interviews and roundtables, we gain valuable insight from the leaders of the film finance industry and how they are bridging the gap between unique storytelling and the financial resources to make them become a big screen cinematic experience. In this edition of our Cannes Echo series, we have a unique opportunity to sit down with editor Mike GOODRIDGE of Screen International.
Hello and welcome to Cannes Echo 2012. My name is Mike GOODRIDGE. I'm the editor of Screen International magazine, and I'm very pleased to be here with a very special panel on international film sales and its role in film financing. Guy East, who's one of the chief executives of Exclusive Media. International sales is not something that the man on the street really knows about, and yet it plays a fundamental part in the world of independent film. Tell us about the history of international sales from your perspective.
Well, the international sales really started, I suppose in the 70s, 60s and 70s. And the idea is that there are really two formats for making a movie. You can either make a movie at an American studio, Warner's, Fox, Sony, etc., and be the producer, and they distribute the film. They have offices all over the world, and they send the prints out to each office and open the film in the cinemas and on video and on television. Or the way that films are made, many films are made now, in fact more films than the studios make, is through what we call the independent system, which is what we're all doing in Cannes. And this is where a producer will put together a screenplay, act as a director, a package, and budget the film, and then go out to every single territory in the world and license the rights to release the film in the cinema and on video and on television to an independent distributor in each territory, and he will pay us, he or she, will pay us what's called a minimum guarantee. That means that they guarantee us a minimum share of the revenue from the cinema release, the video release and television release in their territory. And the idea is that, and as it used to be when we first started doing this about 30 years ago, you could add up all these minimum guarantees and have more money than you needed to make the film and be in profit before you started. Because that has dramatically changed, and that is no longer the case. And I think that's one of the things that we're going to talk about.
What did Cannes look like 34 years ago? Were people trading rights like they are today?
Well, we were trading rights, but it was very different. We didn't, video cassettes had not been invented then, and we'd never heard of DVDs. And so we used to have to, we could not just take a room here and put on a television and screen a movie. We had to show it in the cinema. So that's one huge difference, which I think for young people today is hard to believe. We didn't have fax machines, we had telexes, so you had to have runners running up and down the Croisette from office to office and cinema to cinema, telling us what they'd seen. People did turn up with suitcases full of cash. I remember on one occasion, one of the companies I was working with, somebody halfway through seeing a movie went out and went to the bank, took out $500,000 in cash.
From the cash point?
And, well, we didn't have cash points then. He went into the bank, took out $500,000 and came back with a suitcase and bought the rights for for Germany, in fact, for his territory with $500,000 of cash. So it was same principles, but done in a very different way.
Now, this world exploded, didn't it, on the arrival of video? I mean, what was the impact of video on the sales business?
Well, it was a massive impact because it suddenly meant there was another huge source of revenue other than the cinemas and television. And there was a massive rush to fill the shelves of all the video stores. So a lot of the films that we'd had before that we'd licensed for the cinema and television, suddenly there was this new right that nobody had ever heard of called video, and we rushed to see if our contracts had contemplated any of these rights. And in most cases, we had not licensed any other rights because nobody knew there were going to be any. And so we were suddenly able to relicense and bring a huge masses of cash in from these rights that we just suddenly discovered. And I
mean, you could finance the budget of the film 100% or more using sales.
Yes, we really could, yes, because suddenly there were 3 sources of revenue, and we were able to go out and travel around the world and license these films for 10 years or 20 years to an independent distributor, and with the guarantee, now he could guarantee his revenue from cinemas, from television, and from video, and so there was an awful lot more money available, and it was a fantastic business during that period.
Guy, tell us some of the films that you were involved in at that time.
Well, originally I started at ITC, and we were making pictures like Sophie's Choice and On Golden Pond, and then which was with Lou Grade, who gave me my first job in this business, and then I worked at Goldcrest. We made The Mission, The Killing Fields, Room with a View, fabulous Oscar-winning and Oscar-nominated movies year after year. Then I worked for a while at Carolco, where we were making First Blood and Rambo and the big Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. And then I started my own company, Majestic Films, and we made Driving Miss Daisy, we won the Oscar, Dances with Wolves, we won the Oscar. And those were really two of the first independently financed films which won Oscars and which were released day and date around the world, and showed that the independents could work as well as a studio in releasing movies.
And make as much money.
And make as much money, yes.
The distributors you deal with at Exclusive are sort of different from the distributors Hangame deals with. Can you explain the range of distributors around the world? Yeah,
there is a difference. Most territories have, if you like, two types of distributors. The art house distributors who are putting, if you like, the smaller critic-driven movies, lower budget, I mean, into certain cinemas where a particular audience know that if they go there, they're going to see that type of film. And then there are the other distributors who are buying the very big mainstream commercial movies with major movie stars, lots of action, lots of much bigger budget movies, and those are generally playing in different cinemas. I think I'm more inclined to be working with those distributors, and you're more inclined to probably... So it's changing.
So if you were to pre-sell, or if you were to bring to the market an Arnold Schwarzenegger film that cost $100 million, how much would you be looking to sell in terms of the budget? Would it be 50% of the budget or more? And take a territory like France or the UK, and what do those territories represent in terms of percentage these days?
Generally speaking, if you take the budget in the type of movies we making, France represents as a minimum guarantee around 7% of the budget, and the UK could be 10 to 12%. Of course, it just depends on how appropriate the movie is for that territory.
Yes.
So that if we had, and what we're doing when we're putting the movies together is working out the different directors, different stars who are available, whether the subject is of particular interest in that territory. For example, some countries don't like horror movies. It's very difficult to sell horror movies into Australia, for example. It's quite difficult to sell them into France. And there are other territories who love horror movies. So that's an important, the genre is important. I think we always do a lot of research into the directors we're talking to about how their films have performed in different territories, and of course then the cast. And you do definitely find that some actors are very much loved in certain territories and less liked in other territories, and that will affect the value. But remember, we're always pre-selling. We're selling our movies before they're made. So we're selling the dream, and we're trying to persuade our distributors that the movie we're making is going to be very successful in their country, and therefore they guarantee our minimum share to be as high as we can possibly make it.
And of course, in your model, film stars play a very important part, don't they? Because they're a guarantee of a certain amount of return.
Well, they can be. They certainly seem to be a guarantee to a large extent in terms of pre-selling the movies, because I think they make the buyers feel comfortable. And don't forget that the buyers are licensing from us all the rights, so they will often go and talk to television stations before they acquire the films for us, and a lot of television buyers here, particularly in very big territories like Germany, and the television buyers feel more comfortable if there's a movie star in the movie.
Yes.
The audience for the cinemas don't always go just because there's a movie star, but it helps everybody to feel comfortable, and it gives the buyers a good alibi.
What are the challenges for sales now? You know, video, we talked about video, but DVD is in decline now. I mean, what's the future going to be for the sales business?
Well, I'm sure it's the same for you. And for us, the drop of DVD has been terribly difficult. But now there's the rise of VOD and video on demand, which is bringing a whole new source of revenue. And the wonderful thing in our business is that just when you think it's going down, somebody invents some other system, and so there's a whole new source of revenue coming in from that, which is great.
Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you for watching our Con Echo 2012 series.